to dive into those first couple years, was it just instant success? Were there the highs, the lows? Kinda can you lead me up through the first lead me up till 2009, right? Because 'Cause I'm
Okay.
sure there may be some things that happened there.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, there's quite a journey in there. Apps at first it was. I would say that first year you felt really good, like, hey, making the money I need to make, doing the things I need to do. Turns out I didn't know to not spend all of that money. Like all the money that comes in isn't all yours. From that standpoint, there's gross revenue and net revenue, and you kind of need to know. So year one.
Things that they don't teach you in school, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then now I have I have a baby. We have a house that we have bought that year too when I was still at Lieber Corporation. My wife now stayed, she wanted to stay home with the kids. So I told her she had to get her real estate license. So she did that too. 2000, you kind of get into that second year, third year, they were tough. Like all of a sudden, it just ran into that time period. 2001, you had 9/11 happen. So there was some weird, crash of 99, weird real estate stuff going on that was kind of mixed, and it was a little bit harder to be in the business. And some of my skill set just didn't, after I got out of it, I just couldn't get it in there. I am an entrepreneur. So I also tried starting a decorative concrete business in that time period and a bunch of other business ideas. So at that point in time, I'm scatterbrained, right? Like I've got this real estate thing over here, but I'm like wanting to start this and wanting to start that, and every other multi-level marketing business that comes at me, I'm like all in on that stuff. So year 2 and 3 sucked. Like it was not as good. Kind of coming into 2004, enough to survive and keep going. 2005, I decided to switch things up, and I went into the mortgage business. I went to work for Equitable Mortgage and
Okay.
tried to get in there. All those guys showing up in like 7 Series BMWs and Mercedes. This is the way to go. So I rolled over there, finally got in with those guys. Are also my friends and still
Was
do.
that kind of the reality of, like, you just saw that they were making that income over on the
Oh
financing
yeah.
side, so you wanted to just switch?
Yeah, and that was my mind, like I was just moving towards money, right? Like I have a
Sure,
family, so
sure.
I just needed, I felt like, oh, that was literally the mindset. Like these guys keep pulling up in expensive cars and wonder what you guys are making over there. So,
It's
um,
like, I always joke that Wolf of Wall Street's a great
yes,
sales movie. It's like that scene, like, "Show me your check and I'll quit today."
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Like, man, you guys got to be doing something right over there. Plus, I had a lot of friends in the real estate business, right? Like, so I thought I'm going to go
Yeah.
over here and just kill it in the mortgage business with all these agents that are my friends. I had taught them all how, like I was the tech guy. So, I got them over from MLS books to MLS on computers, like all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
like had all these friendships and things like that. I thought I would just kill it. Unfortunately, the real estate company I was with at the time also came out with a mortgage company almost at the same time I was leaving. So it was just like that was when the first time people had turned their back on me in
Mhm.
the business, where I was like, oh, that didn't feel good, So go over to Equitable Mortgage 2005, like did okay, had a slow start, and then kind of came around to it. Ended up knowing that, like, and I'll be honest with you, when I went to the mortgage business, it was more of I always said it was kind of part of my college education that I didn't get yet. I also wanted to know, why does it take 2 weeks to get through underwriting? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like back then they were like, oh, it's in underwriting. Like anytime you'd ask them, like, where's it at? It's in underwriting. Now they can't lie to us because we know underwriting takes like the
Right.
day, right? Like if it's in underwriting, it's there. So I want to know what the heck was going on over there. So I learned that entire process, right? And did that. Ended up being at Equitable. I was at Equitable Mortgage when the first fax came over from Franklin American Mortgage. And I remember seeing it. I was like, this, now we're getting into, like, I was there 2005, 6 to like in the mortgage business to like 2000, mid 2008. So I was in the
Okay.
mortgage business, the lowest yield spreads. Like you couldn't even made the left. Like everybody traded in a Mercedes for like Priuses, and it was a mess. Like nobody was making any money in the mortgage business when I was there. Pulled off the first fax, and it was like, we're no longer accepting correspondent lending. And I was like, oh, I don't know what this means, but walked it into my boss, Bruce, and he's like, his eyes just got that big around. He's like, oh no. Like, and that was 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, it started coming out on the news that,
Mm,
banks are falling and everything like that. So I ended up switching over to a bank for like 6 months or something. Cause at that time, a mortgage bank felt really unsafe compared to just being at a
right.
bank. So for my family, I'm like, I'm going to go over here to this First Place Bank or something like that. And then, stayed there for like 9 months or something where it was just like, you know what, it's time to go back home. And I'm going to go back over to Keller and get going on this real estate career. And so I hit that in 2009, picked up a friend at Equitable, one of my best friends of this day. And we also, he was the money side of flipping houses. So we were
Okay.
starting to flip houses. We were going to sheriff sales before 2009. So during that 2005, 2009, I was doing all of the CMAs and determining property values and after repair values. And then we were going down to the sheriff sales bidding. We were buying like 6 to 8 a year or so, like at that point in
Yeah.
time, and then selling them. 2009, now we're into 2009 where the market just tanks from that standpoint.
Right.
I was just sitting in the perfect spot. Like I had a best friend that we just flipped houses with. We ended up started doing a self-directed IRA with his IRA money because we knew what was going to come, and we had fun. Like
Yeah.
2009, 10, 11, just buying share sales, flipping them, and that's what really helped me take market share. Like I was putting houses on the market. Everybody else was putting houses on the market that were just junk and torn apart, crappy listings, and I was putting
Yeah.
on completely remodeled, nice new flip listings, and then I was getting clients from that. So like every listing I put on, I'd pick up 2 buyers from it, and then that kind of started to roll through till about December of 2012 when the mortgage moratorium got put on and kind of just halted foreclosures. I remember it carried a $50,000 deposit check around from basically December of 2012 till August of 2013, because it was going to be like the next one I was going to be buying. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't working so much, like the sheriff sale thing wasn't working anymore. They weren't foreclosing as much. America's Homes for Rent came into town. They were bidding 40, 50 grand over
Yeah.
anything to pay for they were
Yeah.
big tech money was running us out is what ended up
And
happening.
I remember around that time, uh, I had a couple investors. I got in 2011, licensed end of 2011. I started in real estate spring of 2011, but around that time, 2013, 14, 15, I started to see money coming in from different countries even, you
Yeah.
know. I remember, I forget the agent off the top of my head. I want to say it was at Keller Williams, but out of Austin, flew in to meet with us, and he had investors from Japan
Yes.
that were wanting to come in and just buy up everything, and
Oh, I
yeah.
was they rained on my party, man. Like it was we were having fun. There was like 3 or 4 of us down there. We all knew each other. And we're like, hey, you get that one, I get this one, you get that one. Like we were having fun. Then all of a sudden it was like, I thought it was a fraud. Like, how do these people come in and buy, like this has got to be a fraud. There's no way they have this much money. I would
Yeah.
start bidding them up. I mean, I spent no less than $4 or $5 million of their money, like
Yeah.
bidding them up, like over, because I realized like they're not going to stop. So I'm like, okay, I'll just spend their money and then they'll get out of here. Turns out they're still here.
They never went away.
Yeah,
um,
no way.